Welcome to the Cryptonomatron, guys. Thanks for joining me again today. In this video, we'll be going to do an ICO review on Tolar HashNET. But if this is your first time here watching the channel and you want to know more about ICOs, including my in-depth ICO reviews with unique ICO scoring metrics, then you got to click on that subscribe button and click on that bell notification icon as well, and you'll get notified as soon as I upload new content and as soon as I go live. Thanks for doing that, guys. Let's get on with the review of Tolar. So what is Tolar HashNET? Well, it's a open source, scalable, fast, secure, and fair decentralized beyond blockchain project. It's going to leverage distributed ledger technology and a consensus algorithm, which keeps all the positive characteristics of a blockchain while increasing the throughput to more than 200,000 transactions per second. Network is using the proof of stake with Masternodes, and that'll eliminate the need for massive energy consumption that we see in proof of work consensus algorithms. Does it sound interesting? I know it does. Let's have a look at the competition. So the competition in terms of infrastructure projects is listed in this table on the Tolar website. I think the closest one here is probably Hedera Hashgraph, but again, Tolar have the competitive advantage in that they can support different chains, whereas Hedera cannot. The speeds are very similar, 200,000 transactions per second. It might sound pie in the sky for a blockchain project, and it often is. We've seen a lot of bold claims recently, and they keep on getting bolder and bolder, and wonder why that is, eh? You know, trying to raise more money, and you know, if you want to be exciting, you've got to up the ante and say you can do a billion transactions per second or something ridiculous, which we all know is not achievable at the moment in blockchain. So the directed acyclic graph technology does allow for a higher throughput because of the nodes being asynchronous. You can also build decentralized apps on this platform, and the code base language, interesting choice, C++. Energy consumption, well, it's proof of stake and Masternode, so it will not have proof of work like some of its rivals. So in terms of closest rivals, Hedera Hashgraph is probably one of the closest, but again, it will not support interoperability through different chains, so that's a competitive advantage. 1-0 to Tolar, and then another one is Phantom. Phantom is a very interesting project that's coming out of Korea. I've done a review on it. You can watch the review video up there. And it's launching an ICO, although, again, they've raised a lot of money in venture capital and a lot of money to private sales, so only a dribble will come down to us, unfortunately. So in terms of problems, we know that there are shortcomings in current infrastructure, and the first one is obviously performance-based. Scalability trilemma, again, we've discussed it many times in different videos. You know, the security, the decentralization, and the scalability are all interlinked and related, and when you scale up too fast, you compromise security and you compromise the decentralized nature of the network. Again, it's a big problem. There isn't a solution currently, but you know, these projects, these new projects like Tolar HashNET and others are trying to go some way in solving it. Now, another issue is obviously ease of use of platforms as well, and service quality. And you know, there are a lot of platforms that work intermittently. HashNET, we hope, is going to work pretty well all of the time. They use this redundancy, reduced gossip, and virtual voting protocols that are based on distributed computation and algorithms from theoretical computer science, which they say will provide fair and fast Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus algorithm. So it's a new consensus substitute platform inspired by the innovative development of hashgraph methodology. So there you go. So it'll run on a public network, basically. It'll be totally distributed, and again, hence that's why it's proof of stake, because they want people to act as nodes and also master nodes as well. And we'll go a little bit more into the tech in a later section. So we get figures in the billions of dollars banded about for the market for blockchain by any given year you want to mention in the future. Now, this report's saying $60.7 billion US by 2024. I think that's quite a conservative estimate, but as the market, or the estimation of the future potential market of blockchain technology is increasing, so are the amount of infrastructure projects that are launching. So, you know, it's a matter of who's going to capture the market and who's got the market. So in terms of market leader, we have Ethereum continuing to dominate the infrastructure projects with a market capitalization of just under $60 billion, but they will be looking over their shoulder at EOS. EOS have done fantastically well to get themselves into 5th position on the market capitalization chart here, and they've got a market cap of 12.38 billion without their mainnet even being launched yet, and no decentralized apps yet launched on it. So it will be very interesting to see whether it can at least challenge Ethereum for that #1 spot. Now, what's the market going to be like for the rest of the project? Well, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a big market. We know it's a growing market, but it seems like every week there's a new infrastructure project launching that claims to have a better technology than the next. And let me tell you, it's going to be very difficult to unseat the incumbents like Ethereum, EOS, and the rest, because they're already ensconced in, and developers are working on them at the moment. So if you're a new project, you first of all have to get yourself proven. You have to prove yourself, and then you have to convince developers to work with you, and then further you have to convince companies to actually want to build stuff on your platform. And it's a hard task for any of these new infrastructure projects, considering there's so many to choose from now as well. So that your market share is essentially going to be diluted by all these new projects that are launching. And normally, if it was me and I had a company and I was looking to build a decentralized app and I needed a little bit of blockchain technology for my company or my project, I would be looking at a more established company to build my technology on, because it's easy, you know what you're getting, there's no surprises. So it's, like I said, it's very, very difficult for these new infrastructure projects to make a dent in the market. So it's not using a blockchain, but it is actually using a directed acyclic graph technology, and that means the scalability is quite good. The reason for this is that the nodes can actually process transactions asynchronously, and they don't have to wait for every transaction to be processed before starting a new one. So it's also quite fast because it doesn't require a chain of blocks to be created by the miners every time to record new transactions, and that that's obviously cumbersome in older blockchain technology. Now they are looking to solve the other two issues in the scalability trilemma, those of decentralization and also security, by using this distributed method of achieving consensus within the nodes. So it's going to be proof of stake. It's going to have masternodes. However, masternodes will set you back about $50,000 at the moment. I think it's about 500,000 of these tokens per masternode. So it won't be achievable to run one for a lot of us. It does sound quite interesting, though, the way they're going to do stuff. They don't have a demo at the moment, unfortunately. That's coming in June. But what did interest me is that it will be mobile compatible. So you can even use your mobile as a full node. So a couple of the cool features. One of them is that you can use your smartphone to run a full node, so that's pretty cool. I don't think we've seen that before. It's been attempted by a few projects, but never really successfully. There's also the governance system as well, called Magnus Concilium, where stakeholders and investors can have the power of voting on proposals to participate in improvements of the network. Now you can tender, which means you can have a plan which can get submitted to the Magnus Concilium, where your proposal will have a majority of votes among the masternodes with good reputations in order to pass. And you can also stake your coins as well to receive interest, and obviously interest will be based on the duration of time the coins were stored and how many coins. So once they scale up to their desired throughput of, I think it's 200,000 transactions per second, Tolar will deploy the Ethereum virtual machine on top of their network. Now this is important because if Ethereum fails to scale and the network continues to be clogged, a lot of decentralized apps will port over and build on networks that support the EVM. And if you are a new network, new blockchain, and you have a better scalability, more transaction speed, then you could be quite attractive for a lot of these current Ethereum users. So in terms of quality of the code, there hasn't been a review done yet. They do have a GitHub, but it is private at the moment. The code will be open source eventually, so we need to wait till the demo is launched till we get to actually see it. I believe Andre Cronje has reviewed the code, but as of this review, the date of this review. He has not posted it on Crypto Briefing yet, so we wait with bated breath and in anticipation, Andre. So the white paper doesn't go into any great detail what the coin or the token is going to be used for, but we can assume, being an infrastructure project, that it's going to be the fuel on the ecosystem, and also going to be used to reward the nodes and the masternodes for actually being part of the network as well. And that's the incentive for you to stay online and also become a node, as you'll get rewarded when you stake your tokens. So I'm happy to report there doesn't appear to be any scam warnings or red flags surrounding this project whatsoever. However, if you do know of anything, please do post in the comments below so we can stay informed as a community. So the public ICO is planned for the last week of August. The private sale is currently ongoing at the moment, and the minimum is 50 Ether for individuals and 1,000 Ether for organizations as well. It's quite a high number there. Now, the Ethereum contributions will be pegged to the US dollar on the day of payment, and the price will be in US dollars as well. The token name is the Tolar, the TOL, as you can see behind me. Hard cap of $35 million, soft cap at $10 million. Percentage going to the public will be 35% in 3 different tiers: a private sale, a pre-sale, and the main sale. The total supply will be 1 million tall. A private sale will get a bonus of 20%. Pre-ICO gets a bonus of 10%. And it's split in the 35% going to the public is split into 3 tiers, as I said. 21% goes to the private sale, 5.25% to the pre-ICO participants with that very, very high minimum, and 8.75% goes to the public as well. So the price ranges in private sale from just a little over 9 cents to 11.28 cents in the public sale. So the rest of the token allocation, 20% goes to the founders, 32% goes to the Tolar Development Fund, 8% will go to the Proof of Stake Network Start Nodes, 2.5% to the devs, and 2.5% to the advisors. Now, there's no lock on the main sale tokens, but there will be a 3 months lockup for the bonus tokens and 24 months lockup for the team on all of their tokens. So sad news, bounty hunters, but there is no bounty campaign and no airdrop for this project as far as I'm aware. So the roadmap explains things in a little bit more detail as to why we're missing some information about the project in the white paper, and they're going to amend that white paper coming later on this year. So hopefully they're going to release a new one with a little bit more information. ICO is going to happen I think end of August, last week of August. Q4 we'll see an exchange listing, the Chain Explorer, and mobile wallets. But we're going to be waiting till Q2 2019 for the mainnet launch as well. So it's quite far away. We're looking at about a year from now. So you've got to bear that in mind if you're contributing to this project. The roadmap isn't very specific. It's quite vague. So yeah, it could be better. We really need to know a little bit more about where they're going and what they're going to do. Okay, so I've spent some time looking through everybody's LinkedIn profiles and finding out what they've been doing. And I think the team overall is pretty strong, I have to admit. What I do like about the team is Joseph, the co-founder and chief technical officer, has blockchain experience. He's been a software developer for many years. But they have got a broad spectrum of talent throughout the team. And I like the team. I think the team's quite strong in many areas. So the team is pretty extensive. There are 8 members on the foundation board, including Joseph, the founder, and Drazen, the principal. There are 6 other board members who are quite impressive in their own rights. Then we have the HashNet tech team, consisting of another 8 developers and IT guys. We've got the biz team, again, another 7 people there performing managerial, administrative duties, marketing, etc. And then we have the advisors at the bottom. Manuel is the marketing advisor, I believe. Valerio is advising on cybersecurity, and Peter is advising on the legal matters. Now, Valerio, interestingly enough, went to McDonald's Hamburger University. I'm not shitting you, he did. You go and look at his LinkedIn profile if you don't believe me. So as far as I'm aware, they don't seem to have any partnerships at all at the moment, at least none listed on the website and none in the white paper either. So we'll need to wait and see whether they do actually partner up with anybody. So in terms of hype and community, it's not really there yet in terms of the hype anyway. Community's building though, you can see the Telegram group is getting new members quite quickly. They've got 6,687 people on their Telegram at the moment and 1,000 people following them on Twitter. Interestingly enough, they did win an ICO pitch contest at Ian Balina's Crypto World Tour in Budapest in Hungary. So congratulations to Joseph and the team. Ian looking a bit plump there. I'm not sure whether he'll be able to get that jacket done up at all. So let's look at the positives first. What I like about this project in particular, and the first one is, well, it could solve the biggest problem of them all, the scalability trilemma. Again, you know, it may have security issues, but looking at the tech and looking at what they are intending to implement, they will certainly have some element of decentralization on the network, and they will also be quite scalable too. So if they can address the security issues, then they might be able to solve the biggest problem of them all. And proof of stake and masternodes means rewards. And if you have a node, then you're acting as part of the network, keeps the network active, and masternodes could be quite lucrative on this project as well. Now, mobile devices can also act as nodes, and that will appeal to many people. You know, it will appeal to your average Joe that can download the wallet on their mobile device, and that's something that a lot of projects I think need to look at in the future, especially infrastructure projects that are proof of stake and looking to implement masternodes. Now, they will have the Ethereum virtual machine eventually on the network, and again, that will be essential, I think, in capturing part of the market, especially if Ethereum stumbles with its Casper and sharding proposition. This is community governed as well, so it's transparent and fair. It has interchain support as well, so it will be able to interact with other chains. Again, we need to see the white paper in the future, how they're going to implement some of this stuff. And infrastructure projects are doing particularly well recently. They seem to be the in thing at the moment, and there is a plethora of them out there. So this may well do quite well based on the fact that it is an infrastructure project. And on the surface, what the white paper tells us, it looks pretty good as far as the tech goes. The material's fairly well presented, website's nice, you know, everything's pretty good. It's pretty solid looking. And the team is quite strong too. You know, they have that three-tier team, the board members and the founders, the tech team, and then the admin team, or the office team, if you like. The hard cap is quite high for me at $35 million, but that does give some potential for growth. And it will have a fairly low circulating supply of about 35%, so about 350 million out of the 1 billion total initially. And the project and team members have won awards too, so it shows they know what they're doing. So in terms of negatives and what I don't like about this project, well, the first one is there's no code and public GitHub yet. Now that is coming, and I know that Andrei Kronje has reviewed the code already, and I'm waiting for his verdict on crypto briefing. There's no demo or MVP yet. Again, I've been assured by the admin on their Telegram group that that will be available for the public at sometime in June, and the code will be open source as well, I have to say. Now, $50,000 for a masternode is extremely expensive at the moment. There are a lot of better options out there currently. And another thing I didn't like was this very small percentage, only 8.75% of the total supply for ICO participants. That's just miserly, it really is. And this has got a higher hard cap than I like. $35 million is higher than I like to get involved with, but it is what it is. And there's a very high percentage of tokens going to the founders here, 20% of the overall supply. That's pretty high. And there's insanely high pre-sale minimums of 50 Ether and 1,000 Ether for private pools, which is just ridiculous. I mean, that 1,000 Ether is just a joke. And there's no bounty for this project as well. And I feel that this project could potentially, I think it could be better off with a bounty campaign. I think it actually would benefit from a bounty campaign because it lacks a little bit of community. And even if they were to run one for, you know, a few weeks before the ICO, it would really build hype behind it. Saying that, it may well sell out, bounty campaign or no. And hype is lacking in this project currently, again, because it's not really on many people's radar. More explanation is also needed in the new version of the white paper. There are a few things that aren't quite clear, and we need just some more explanations and some examples of stuff they're going to implement. And this is going to be a very tough market to crack. You know, again, it's you know, it's not on its own. There are a lot of these infrastructure projects, and especially directed acyclic graph projects coming out now, all with similar visions. So yeah, it's going to be tough to get any market off of Ethereum, as I mentioned earlier, and EOS as well. Stiff competition in the sector. Yeah, for startups, it's going to be hard. You know, for new kids on the block. And the roadmap is vague as well. It's not detailed enough for my liking. As an investor, I want to know exactly what this project's going to be doing in the next 18 months. If they're trying to raise millions of dollars, we need to know. And it's a fairly long wait until the mainnet launch, while competitors are launching now, including EOS. So yeah, you'll need to wait a year or thereabouts to see the mainnet launch, which might put some people off. Now, in terms of potential gains, what I think it might do given the market and taking into account previous similar projects. Now, I'm quite bullish on this because it is an infrastructure project, and as I said, they are the all the rage. They are the flavor of the month, so to speak. So in an ultra bearish market, well, I think this could lose about 20%. I don't think it's going to do any worse than that, because again, we've seen a lot of infrastructure projects launch very recently: Quark Chain, P Chain, IOTEX, several others as well, and they've all fared particularly well after ICO. So unless it's a completely ultra bearish market, I don't think this is going to lose at all. Again, if it's just a bearish market like we've got at the moment, this could easily just stay where it is or even double up. In a bullish environment, however, things start to look very rosy for this project indeed. I think this could do a 5x no problem. $150 million market cap or thereabouts for this project is quite easily to achieve, I think. And in a perma bullish environment, I think 10x for this is quite achievable. $300 million market cap, yeah, this project could achieve that. So for flipping, well, it depends. I'm going to be on the fence with flipping with this one because it will depend entirely, in my opinion, on the hype. Now, if this project gets the hype before it launches the ICO by the end of August, then flipping is a distinct possibility. But if it doesn't, if it just continues as it is at the moment, then yeah, you probably want to leave this one alone. Hodling, well, it's the better play here, and I think it's the better play overall for most infrastructure projects, because over the piece, as they develop and as they implement features and as they get recognized and make announcements, you know, your token value is going to increase. So yeah, hodling's the better play. So final verdict, scores on the doors first. Marks out of 10 in 12 different categories, my ICO scoring metrics. Now, presentation and pitch for this project is okay. It's pretty average. It's not anything special. The material's solid, but there's not enough explanations. There's not enough pitch being done. It lacks a bounty campaign, so it gets a 6 out of 10. For competitiveness, well, there are a lot of competitors in this space, and it's going to be difficult for this Tolar HashNET to make any sort of impact, so it only gets a 6 out of 10 here. As far as a problem solver, it does particularly well in this category because it could solve the scalability trilemma. So it gets a 9 out of 10 for problems. Disruptor, well, it could disrupt the market fairly well. You know, it does have competition, as I stated, so it will struggle to secure market share, I feel. But overall, it is quite disruptive. I give it a 7 out of 10. As far as the blockchain and tech is concerned, we're waiting on Andre's report for the code, but overall, just looking at the white paper and the information we've got at the moment, we know there's a demo coming. It's going to be open source. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I give them a 7 out of 10 here. For token use, well, it's the fuel for the ecosystem here, so it gets an 8 out of 10. Tokenomics, not the greatest tokenomics in the world. The hard cap's a little too high for me. Token price a little too high as well. And strange large bonuses for the founders, and only a dribble coming down to Joe Bloggs, the normal ICO participant, ensures they only get a 6 out of 10 for tokenomics. Community and hype, it's not there yet, but I'm sure it will get better in the run up to the ICO. It gets a 6 out of 10 there. Roadmap, again, it needs work, it needs improvement. They only get a 5 out of 10 for roadmap. Team and advisors, well, I think this is a strong point for this project. The team looks particularly strong. They've got 3 advisors, but they all advise on key areas that's going to make the project successful, so they get an 8 out of 10 there. As far as partnerships are concerned, they only get a 3 out of 10 for partnerships, because I can't see any partners involved with this project. But again, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here, because the 3 advisors will act in a sort of partnership duty for legal, cybersecurity, and also marketing purposes. So benefit of the doubt there, guys. And for fair play, again, lacking here. They only get a 4 out of 10 because only a dribble comes down to us. Now, final verdict. How does it rate out of 10? 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So this is a Slovenian project, and it may solve the biggest problem in blockchain of all, which is the scalability trilemma. So it may be worth its weight in gold. But it gets a 6.5 out of 10 because it does have a few minor flaws. Am I applying for the bounty campaign? Well, it's not applicable. There isn't one, unfortunately, for me. And will I be investing? Yes, I think it's worth taking a risk on this. It's an infrastructure project, so I think it may do quite well when it goes on the exchanges. And the fact that the tokens will be limited for public distribution may mean there will be demand for this. So there you go, that is my Tolar ICO review complete. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please do give us a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so now by clicking the subscribe button and clicking on that bell notification icon. And you'll get notified as soon as I upload new content and as soon as I go live. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, so stay tuned. Bye for now from the Cryptonomatron, and have a nice day.